How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Bitcoin update, and it just keeps getting worse. The 200 EMA is the bottom of the macro uptrend, so it's taken an average of the last 200 days. Look how important it was coming out of this correction to confirm it as support right there. This was actually one of the signals that I gave on my channel as well as in the Discord community that signaled for a new all-time high, in fact, and then, of course, the Trump victory took us to a new all-time high. Now we're actually going ahead and losing it. So that means we're invalidating this trend. This was the pivot point to go up. And we can see all the way beforehand, it was just choppy. We weren't technically listening to the moving average exactly. And only when we exactly respected it did we continue high. We can see that there were fake outs. If we're losing it, even though it had reclaimed, it still needs to come down to it eventually and confirm it as support. It didn't do so. So now that it's lost, we need to reclaim it and confirm it as support. It didn't do so. So when we reclaim it, it needs to confirm it as support. It didn't do so again. Only on that occasion it respected exactly. No other time did it. And then once it respected exactly, continuation higher. Has it respected here exactly? No. So even if we bounce, it's just going to be a lower high. So we need to see it maintained as support. Even if we lower high, let's say we get this move back up, it then needs to fall to the 200 EMA and hold exactly like down over here. Sorry, let me just, so you can see it better, down over here. It must maintain the 200 EMA, and guys, we lost it. So that's negative, that's bearish. Even with the bounce now, it's making it harder. Look, we're struggling at the very first hurdle. This should have held, it's now resistance. And even if we pumped up into here, all the moving averages as resistance meant that it'd just be a lower high anyways. It's a crazy situation, but still to this point, I do believe that it's still a correction. I think in the end, even if we were to consolidate here and eventually move back up, I think we are going to a new all-time high eventually. As this keeps moving down, the Fibonacci levels keep changing, so I have to keep readjusting with the new low down at 81.8K. So we can see that it actually respected the 1414 fib exactly. I want to go over to the weekly time frame as we're coming into the end of the week and just double check this area. Let me just check the 5-day. It was the 5-day, my apologies. So on the 5-day time frame, some people prefer to use it over the weekly, and we can see a very key level of support in and around this area. 81,000 needs to hold by the end this week, and then you'd say you want to recover these moving averages by the end of this week. That's unlikely to happen since, even though the weekend finishes on Sunday, the stock market shuts tomorrow. And it's really about Friday's daily close, Friday's stock market shut, as we have low volume weekends. So the move on Friday should actually be a false move. So if we see a pump on Friday, a move back up into the resistance, then it's going to stop there for the weekend and roll over lower. So ultimately, guys, we need to see 81, 82 maintaining and a reclaim of 94, which is pretty much what I've been saying anyways on the daily time frame. As you can see, the 100 EMA here, the pink one, sitting at 93.6. So actually, it's lower now. So before it was 94, now it's 93.6K that Bitcoin needs to reclaim. The issue is with a pump, everyone's going to get excited because they'll see a market-wide bounce. There might be coins up 20%, but that's the risk. So that is it from me today. Bitcoin must recover the 200 and the 100 if we want to see bullish continuation. Otherwise, we are just going to pump into resistance, whether that's just the 200 EMA. If it fails to reclaim, then that's it. If we get up here, it should also be resistance and rollover. So we're only going to change the trend on the reclaim of this level. Pumping into it would just be turning it into resistance as it was previously giving bounces as support. Just pumping into it to roll over once again. Don't worry, I'll be here to update it daily as I have been. And ever since all the way up over here, if you've been following my Bitcoin updates, this is where I've personally been bearish from. And I called for the move down to the range low back at the end of January, not even this month, end of last month, I was calling for this. And then once we had got down here and started accumulating, it actually made sense to tap into these lows, as I was saying, because all of these longs taken place here are with leverage. So there's all these liquidations underneath, and that's what we've tapped into. So let's now get that bounce But of course, everyone's going to be longing the bounce. And when we get up into resistance, where people will be having shorts opened, they're going to want to liquidate these longs with all the liquidations underneath. So very risky times ahead to be in altcoins, in my personal opinion. Even technically Bitcoin, you can argue, is in a not safe territory because it needs to recover key levels in order to be considered bullish. Right now, it's not so crazy times, but would I be selling my Bitcoin? That's down to the person. Me, no. But that's down to the person. If your goal was to make money, make fiat, then yes. If your goal is to hold real money, then you don't want to switch back into fiat, of course. But you have to live through the volatile swings. In this cascade we saw last week, some coins went down 50% in 2 days, while Bitcoin nowhere near as much, of course. As you can see. That's it from me today. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. If you want to jump into my community, I do live streams with further education so you can learn how to do this and identify it all on your own.